Hello, hello, hello. Hi, you guys. Welcome to Life Discussions with Dr. Jefferson. I am your host, Dr. Jefferson, and today I'm going to be talking about some relationship issues. Here we talk about accountability conversations, typically around issues that affect directly or indirectly the people that are a part of the Black, Brown, and melanated community in the United States. So, here recently, I've been getting a lot of relational type of requests. Okay. And so I figured, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to brush through this one, but we're going to make sure that we take our time on the intricate matters at hand that matter the most because there are so many levels to this relationship question. And that's what we're gonna start off with. It's a lot of layers, okay, you guys. So I'm gonna put the very beginning of it up so you guys can kind of see it. And since it's sort of relating to what we'll have a discussion about today, we'll bring it all in and we'll talk about the specifics. But shout out to the chat. Feel free to have a discussion around this particular question, the relationship engagement question or whatever. It's a lot of layers. Okay, so I'm gonna put the beginning of it up. Right, I've copied some of it up. Uh, nope, it's not. Here we go. But this is kind of where we're gonna go for our topic. But let's go here. This is the relationship question. All right. So let me pull it up in my email really quickly again and pull up the whole thing. You can't make this stuff up. Okay. So our relationship question comes from Tanea, and she lives in New York, in the Bronx. Okay. So it says, I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 7 years, and recently I found out that he has been with another woman who is engaged to, who I guess she meant he is engaged to now, and has been engaged for the past 4 months. Okay. So I, all right. So you've been in a relationship, you've been a girlfriend for 7 years. That's the first thing. But come on, let's continue. Uh so he and I live 3 states away from one another and have been living this way from the beginning. My life has been about him and making him comfortable for so long that I lost myself. And I know we stopped having sex because as I continued to talk about marriage, he continued to ignore that this was even a point of interest. My friends and family have no idea of what I found out, but my father has been discouraging my continuing the relationship for the past 3 years. He has always been really attentive and loving, but I never could have imagined this would happen. Sorry, I am all over the place, but because I was just about to say, you talking about your dad or you talking about the guy until I got toward the end of that sentence. Um, he has, okay, I read that one. Always been attentive and loving, but I never could have imagined this would happen. Sorry, I am all over the place, but I need to find peace and find a way back to my man. My man is in all caps. I am willing to share if necessary, but he has no idea I know about the other woman. Oh, I did not mention it, but I know about her because I saw a live he posted of the proposal on his alternate page on IG. I have been lurking on a fake profile too. Wink. Anyway, how do I get my man back, Doc? Man, you guys are mm, okay. So that's a lot to unpack. Does anybody in the comments, anybody in the audience have any suggestions for this young lady? Do you guys anybody y'all got anything? Does anybody have any advice for her? Um
Well, she gave all the advice. She wouldn't share that bit. If I mean, you already there.
okay, Tanaya, whatever. Um you live 3 states away for 7 years. I'm just, I guess I'm curious about a couple of things. You're old enough for you guys to have been gone, have gone through college and all that good stuff. Where is Kevin Samuels when you need him? Okay. Oh man. Okay. So let's unpack a little bit of this. You've been a girlfriend for 7 years, and you've been mentioning marriage for a length of time. Okay. And I guess I'm confused because if I'm mentioning marriage to the guy that I'm with and we're together for over a year even, and all you're doing is deflecting and going around the conversation, your father advised you right. He waited a bit, and for whatever his reason was, some parents are different than other parents, but your father advised you right. What I'll say is your father is every bit of right, and he says that you should leave this guy alone. Please understand that protecting your peace is very important, and in order for us to do that, we must first call a thing and do our self work. I'm wondering, while you were composing this email, you had any reflective resonance at all that said, now that I'm putting this pen to paper of sorts, right? Typing is the same as you're writing it down and putting pen to paper. So I'm wondering if at all you sat with yourself and said, okay, this really sounds like a situation where I'm not, living my best life and giving life all that I have to offer. I don't know. How are you? How are you? Do you have any advice for the young lady? Cuz I am taken aback. I'm completely there are so many layers here. So your friends and your family don't know that you just found out that he is currently engaged to another woman. I'm looking through your He's been engaged to her for 4 months. I'm curious about a lot of things in your email. So I'm curious about whether or not you've seen him over the course of this 4 months at all. And I'm curious that if you have seen him, what are some of the things that you guys have done with one another? And what are some of the conversations you've had? So you mentioned that you've talked about marriage, you've brought up marriage. And obviously, that's become a point that has turned him off, shunned him away from you, or what have you. I don't know. Mm. Talking about sipping the tea.
So you a long time.
You think so?
I mean, if you put it, now she got two choices. Leave him alone. You better share that guy with everybody with him now.
But she said that she was willing to share.
I mean, not only that particular woman, but there's going to be other after that one. No, that's a woman.
But that's what she's saying. She says, I willing to share him with any woman. Obviously, she's been sharing him with a lot of women. Okay, so I'm gonna address the big elephant for me. Okay. My thing is you've been with this man for 7 years, and people in your inner circle, people that you typically would trust, are constantly telling you to leave him alone, what's leading, what conversation, because you say they don't know about this incident. So I'm curious as to what incidents they do know about that have them cautioning you moving forward in said relationship, because I think it definitely boils down to your own personal self-evaluation of who you are and how you are, right? um mm.
But what that says about a guy from 7 years ago dating another woman? What that says about him?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if he really thinks. I'm curious about how he has felt all this time in this relationship. So what I'll say is this, you guys, as a general consensus, so you guys have a clear understanding of kind of where I'm sitting with as I'm reading what she's saying. Let me know if you're taking something different. So what I'm taking from this based off of her narrative, the situation is not what she's thought it has been all this time, but because obviously he thought it was something else. There's no way that a man is going to be with you for 7 years and then every time you talk about marriage, he's not even entertaining the conversation and he's running away from the conversation.
We don't know if they live together or not.
No, she said they haven't. She said that she lives 3 states away. Oh, I didn't post the whole thing because the email's so long. It's too many characters. But she says they live 3 states away from one another. So you live 3 states away from somebody and you are almost 40 years old. Like,
Yeah, but 7 years long this relationship,
you can't make this stuff up. Like,
and you can't make that work. I mean, that's a no go.
no, I'm wondering if he knew he was in a relationship because you men do that. Men will go along to get what they need. So it's possible that she talking about marriage. But that's what I'm saying. If he proposed to a whole nother woman, like dude has proposed to a whole.
I mean, on viral now. IG. How you do that? You don't think he's gonna find out? Everybody in the world know now.
She says the second page. So obviously he got two IGs or three or however many he got. But
Still viral. He talking about that woman that over her.
what are you guys thinking about this? Tanasia, Tanaya, ma'am.
That's it for me. I think he's been leaving alone. He go that far to post it.
Her question is, how does she get her man back, though?
You don't.
That's what her question is. I would like to know how to get my man back after that. Um, so I'm gonna call a thing a thing. Here's the thing. I feel from what I'm gathering from your email is that you at some point in some way, I don't know how, because I don't want to make excuses for anyone, because I think in situations like this, I think people need to be more clear and concise about what it is they're saying and what it is that they want longitudinally when it comes to relationships. I don't think that this man made it clear to you that he wasn't even in a relationship. He engaged. He's not married to her yet.
If he married her, I'm quite sure the new woman not going to share it, so she's gonna be happy with it.
More than likely, 9 times out of 10, the new woman has no idea about her. Like, and this is the crazy thing because I remember watching Cheaters a couple of times, and it's the other woman who always finds out that the man is cheating in the first place. You've been in a relationship with seven. You've been in a relationship with him for 7 years. Like, you've given this man 7 years of your life. At what point do you think you start asking the difficult questions about, hey, why is it that every time I bring up us getting married, the conversation about us getting married, you deflect or move away from having the conversation with me?
I'm like, I don't think he was in that. He was in for that type of relationship. 7 years is a long time.
I don't think he knew he was in a relationship.
Not to the depth she was in.
No, I don't think he knew he was in a relationship at all with anybody. What man proposes to another?
You can do that, but it ain't gonna be like that.
Man.
And all that stuff.
So you would propose to another woman while you're in a relationship with somebody? So let's say you and I are together and we're together for 7 I wouldn't give you 7 years.
I want to get myself
You wouldn't get my 7 years. So Tanasia, look, Tanaya, whatever you I'm sorry, because I'm
what I'm
bad with
saying.
names.
I want to get myself
Listen.
7 years.
So everybody looks at relationships in a different way. Sometimes, like the conversation that we're going to have tonight, and then you'll find out also in that, okay? So I don't want you to think I'm being mean or, discriminatory when I give you this answer. Every person has a different idea as to what it is relationships look like. But what I will say is that there is one congruent theme around, centralized theme across all healthy relationships, and that is healthy conflict resolution or communication skills. So you have to know how to convey your messages, because otherwise, how can you even be in a relationship? Like, you're not even in a relationship. So I think that he is unaware that you were in a relationship with him and he was in a relationship with you. Therefore, it led to him pursuing another woman and proposing to her. Man, it's really hard, because here it is, you lost 7 years of your life. You don't have any kids together, but you've given away 7 years of your life, and now you're at the point, if you want children, you know, you have to ask yourself, what type of parent will you be when you're having your first child after 40? Because I'm sure it's going to take you some time to heal, some significant time to heal from this trauma and move into another healthy functioning relationship. And the fact that you are willing to share him, you're willing to do whatever it is that it takes for you to keep this man.
Well, that was tough. That was a rough thing.
I have no idea. I have no idea, man. I have no idea what you should do. I have no idea. It's beyond me. I think that you should go to therapy for discernment counseling and figure out what it is that you really want out of life. Because
Well,
your message,
well, after that, you have a direct conversation with him to get to the.
she doesn't need to have a direct conversation with him. I doubt that she's even a.
I'm just
How
saying.
many people out there in the audience have had a long distance relationship for the summation of 7 years or more? Let me just go out there and just, I'm gonna go to
That
the
ain't
extreme.
hard.
How many of you have had a long distance relationship for 2 years or more with a person without some level of commitment conversation? And when I say conversation, I mean both of you are having an exchange and dialogue. Because obviously, Miss Tanasia here is saying that she's had conversations and this guy has evaded. But if he has managed to evade the conversation around a potential, not even a real, but a potential commitment to her,
So
that
he
tells,
didn't even engage her in 7 years. So
yeah, he
what's
hasn't
the
even talked
potential?
about it. And then she said that they stopped having sex, which tells me that at some point you were having sex with him. At what point did the rules change and you no longer valued your chastity? At what point does the rule, so you're talking to him about marriage, and then now you found out he's engaged to another woman behind your back, and now you're willing to share him? I can't make this stuff up, you guys. I don't know. um I say that your father was right,
You know,
and you just really got to cut your losses at this point and walk away. Now, does that mean that you never become a mother? Your grandparents, I mean, your parents will never become grandparents of children that come from you? Maybe. But you have to do what's necessary to protect your peace. And our energy center needs balance, stability, assurance, to be sound in presentation.
I felt work that you want somebody more for her, make it work like that. That's just wrong. You know, I mean that she hurt.
The climate of dating is so confusing now, though, in Western culture, that I'm going to say it makes it hard for me to answer your question, because I do understand that there are large numbers of people who are moving away from your traditional, non-monogamous exclusive partnership between partners, like the one-on-one commitment, and moving more into an open relationship dynamic or polyamorous relationship dynamic, but it doesn't sound like he's even into polyamorous relationships because he's not even been honest with you from the beginning. And in poly relationships, the transparency, the honesty is a necessary component. That's what defines the different structures and the boundaries. Like you still have solid and sound commitments. They just don't look like Western culture, traditional non monogamous exclusive relationships. And so, what I want to say is this, sometimes we have to cut our losses, and it's difficult for us to do so. But I say you should walk away. I don't think that you should be pursuing a man who doesn't value you, and he's showing you that he doesn't value. He's proposed to a whole other woman. He's no, he's shown the whole world. The man, he's gone on to IG Live and recorded him proposing to another woman. And I don't think, I just know he, I don't know. Like, how many of you out there are men watching this show? Tell me whether or not you would openly propose to another woman knowing that you've been in a relationship with another woman for 7 years, who's been asking you about marriage, indicating she wants to get married to you. I'm just trying to find out the reality here of the men, because if she's 40 years old, that means he's got to at least be. I'll give him 35 to 50, because I'm gonna say some women go for younger men and some women go for older men. So I got to give that differential to cover all the possibilities here. But I need you men to step up. I need you guys to tell me how many of you, if you're in a relationship for 7 years, and women, who's gonna go for 7 years talking about marriage to a man that's ignoring you completely?
What man would do that without that? I mean,
Yes, polygamy is normal. But did you not?
that's not what they're doing. Me not right.
It isn't at all. So let me read you. I'm gonna read her email because you came in late. Okay. I have been in, because I only copied a part of it. Okay. I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 7 years. And recently I found out that he has been with another woman who is engaged to him. Who is engaged to now. I'm guessing he is engaged to her now, and has been engaged to her for the past, no, has been engaged for the past 4 months. He and I live 3 states away from one another and have been living this way from the beginning. So for 7 years, she's been living separately from this guy. My life has been about him and making him comfortable for so long that I lost myself. And I know we stopped having sex because as I continued to talk about marriage, he continued to ignore that this was even a point of interest. My friends and family have no idea of what I found out, but my father has been discouraging my continuing the relationship for the past 3 years. He has always been really attentive and loving, but I never could have imagined this would happen. Sorry, I am all over the place, but I need to find peace and find a way back to my man in all caps, the my man, all caps, okay? I am willing to share if necessary, but he has no idea I know about the other woman. Oh, I did not mention it, but I know about her because I saw a live he posted of the proposal on his alternate page on IG. I have been lurking on a fake page, a fake profile too. Wink. Anyway, how do I get my man back, Doc? That's her question. That's the entirety of the email. Other than the demographic stuff she put up there at the top. She's a black female living in the Bronx, New York. She's 40. So, engagement ring is another scam that women fall for. He never gave her an engagement ring. He's not even entertaining her conversations. Right. Like he's not even encouraging her. He's not even entertaining. Let me put like he's not even entertaining her conversations for 7 years.
He's not talking engagement. He's talking on marriage. He's talking ring, none of that.
No, I don't think he knew he was in a relationship. Like that was my original point. Like I think that he didn't know he was in a relationship with her. He probably thought maybe he thought that she was like a jump off. You know, that's kind of what they call it nowadays. Now they're not looking for anything solid. How many of you, Refron, would you date a woman for 7 years who lives 3 states away with no ring, no marital conversations or anything like that? You couldn't do it 2 months. Why not? It's, I think he knew they weren't going to be together. Yeah, so
7 years, he had enough courage, enough balls, enough man who would be an adult about it, adult enough to tell her that.
so, young lady, I'm going to go back to my first point. It's about self worth. If you don't value yourself, if you don't know what your worth is, if you don't know what you offer and bringing to the table, if you don't know the value of that said thing that you are bringing to the table and to the conversation around negotiations that construct what marriage will look like with a person, there is no way that you can find yourself not just married, but happily seated and married and rested in a marriage with a man who values you because you're not even giving him an opportunity to value you. That's just what it is, okay? So we're gonna definitely move on and it's related content because
That's a no go.
this is interesting, you guys.
That's right. 7 years is a long time.
So you guys know I love Oprah's conveying her different stories here. Hold on, let me reshare. I can't believe that. But yeah, so tell me what you guys would offer this what would you guys say to this young lady that sent me this?
Leave him alone.
And this is a great way I think to look at the full picture. Um so watch this video and let me know how you guys are feeling after watching this as it compares to this young lady's story.
Had no idea that her husband was living a double life for 15 years. Now that's betrayal. Listen to their story. Listen to their story. Burton and Susie Farbman truly believed they had the American dream. Burton and Susie were fixtures on the Detroit social scene. He, a real estate titan, she a reporter, gossip columnist, local celebrity, and mother of two.
I really felt that I was as close as anybody came to having it all.
Everything seemed perfect until they became the subject of the gossip. A woman from Burton's office took Susie aside.
She said, I wanted to tell you something. Everyone in the office is talking about Bert's having an affair. And I said, feeling as though 1,000 horses had just stampeded through my stomach, thank you for telling me. I went home and told Burton about this conversation that I'd had. And he said, there's no truth to the rumor. I chose to believe his denials.
After that conversation, Burton became withdrawn and depressed. Susie wrote it off as a midlife crisis. She threw herself into her journalism career. Her work appeared in national magazines.
But in the meantime, Burton was more and more antsy and saying, I don't want to work so hard. I want to take time off. I want to play. And he found someone to play with. And that someone wasn't me.
Burton was spending all of his time with his beloved horses, his riding companion, an attractive, single woman.
And when I would say to him, is anything else going on? He denied it. And once again, I wanted to believe his denials.
But the facts pointed the other way. Susie found a suspicious hotel bill and plane ticket.
That was really a nightmare to discover that.
Many nights she came home to find his car missing. Many mornings she woke up alone.
It was so devastating, not knowing, suspecting, but not knowing for sure where he'd gone. I didn't want to know.
Then came a call Susie will never forget.
As we're driving along, my husband's cell phone rings. Through the receiver, I hear this woman's voice, "Hi," lasting way too long for the way he responded.
I'm tied up right now. I'll call you back.
I said, "Gee, who was that?" Like real innocent. And he said, "Jerry." He was calling on business. That was one of the worst moments of my life because that was the first time I ever really knew that he had told me a lie. My heart caved in. It was like an implosion. At this point, I realized that my perfect life was a sham.
Well, there are, as we know, two sides to every story, especially Susie Farbman had no idea that her husband was living a double
My life because that was the first time I ever really knew that he had told me a lie. My heart caved in. It was like an implosion. At this point, I realized that my perfect life was a sham.
Okay,
Well,
I had
there
to.
are, as we know, two sides to every story, especially.
So I wanted to bring that kind of like to a review. Okay, so now we're reviewing. We're going back and looking, taking another look at the fact that this woman realized that whatever she thought she had, it's not what she had. And so for the young lady who sent me your relationship question, let me put a little bit of that, the beginning remnants of that back up. Okay, this is what you sent me. I want you to look at this situation with Susie, who is in a marriage. She's the married woman. And I want you guys to sit with the fact of how long it is that this woman had, what, how many years? 15 years? But at least she was married, okay? So here's the thing. You don't accept another woman. You don't accept another woman has taken your man and then vie and fight to get him back.
I don't even think he took it. He chose another one.
He chose another woman. He chose her because I don't think he knew he was in a relationship with this woman that wrote the. Yeah.
He just chose somebody else.
Right. So let's listen a little bit because I feel like this shows a male's perspective of somebody who has also equally wasted the time of a person. And I won't say waste because at the end of the day, when you're married with someone and you're married to someone and you guys are building and you have a family, it makes it different. It's a bit different than this woman's dynamics here because this man was careful enough over 7 years. He hasn't gotten her pregnant. Over 7 years, he's not entertaining marriage. He has had no conversations around marriage. And here it is. You see this married woman here having to make a decision, about her marriage, and you got women out here doing what you're doing. So I'm not shaming you per se, but you make it really hard. You make it really hard for me to even advise you because I can't buy that this guy thought he was in a relationship. And I'm gonna let you guys listen to what this man had to say after cheating on his wife. Said so she put her career over her husband. You talking about this woman right here or the one who wrote in? Okay, I think you're talking about Susie. So I'm referring to the Tanasia woman that gave me her relationship advice question. This is her question. Well, the beginning remnants of her question. So while I continue to play this, Miss Sandy, if you want to go back and rewind the video a little bit so you can get the gist of the conversation I'm referring to and then referencing this video in relation to. You can do that and then kind of come back over in like 2 minutes.
When it comes to an affair, here's Burden's version.
You never told her how you really feel.
14 years into our marriage, we seemed to be happy.
But Burton says something was missing.
There was a hole in my life. That was the time I think I had my first affair. She was younger, spontaneous, wanted to have fun, and there was an attraction. I try to go back and ask myself, why did I do it? It all sounds too much like a big excuse, and I think that's bullshit. I think the truth is that I was weak.
Burton feared the whispers around the office would reach his wife. Eventually, they did.
Susie heard the rumor. She confronted me with it. I denied it, and that was pretty much where it ended.
Shortly after Susie questioned Burton about the office gossip, his mistress called it quits.
I took it pretty hard. I went into a depression, and after 3 weeks, I started to feel better.
Life returned to normal until 12 years later, he got antsy again. Burton escaped to his horses, and what began as a friendship at the stables became much more.
Sex was part of the relationship, and as I was getting more attached to her, I was feeling less attached to Susie. But I felt guilty, and Susie knew there was something wrong. And when I would tell her who I was with, I'd see tears in her eyes. She would get silent.
Burton tried hard to camouflage his double life. He carried a secret cell phone and kept a special credit card. He even set up a post office box for bills Susie would never see. But there were slip-ups, like that plane ticket to Florida, which Susie found.
I lied, clearly lied.
Then came that fateful phone call.
Yes. It was this girl, and I didn't know that Susie had heard the voice. When she asked me who it was, I told her it was some fellow in our office, and Susie knew it wasn't true.
Once again, Susie said nothing and let her husband slide. But his lies were becoming unbearable.
I realized that if I didn't do something dramatic, we were going to end up getting a divorce. And so I, very late at night, it probably was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I doubt that either of us were sleeping. I said, Susie, and she said, yes. I said, do you really want to know what's going on? And she said, yes.
So what did he say?
He told me about the current affair. He told me about a brief affair before that that I really had not known about, and about the affair that occurred 15 years before that I didn't realize. You know, when I heard the rumors, I didn't know that that was actually the affair, and I had 2 little boys at the time, and I just managed to put that right out of my mind.
You know, it's interesting. You know, I started at the beginning of the show talking about a woman's intuition and her gut. So when you hear those rumors from the office, and you brushed it aside, there was no gut instinct, there was no feeling from you?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a sense something was wrong, but I just, with all my heart, didn't want to believe what it was. And so I kept coming up with other theories.
So you told her finally because?
We were in a program, at a couples program, after my son's wedding. And it showed me how far we had fallen as a couple. And my intention was never, ever to get divorced.
What were you going to do, Bert?
When you're going through that, I don't know that your mind is going that far ahead. And I don't know if you're thinking about that. I thought that it was just an enhancement to my life. And it may sound silly, but...
An enhancement. Next, Bert's other shocking confession to Susie about his mistress. I was saying to Susie that her book, Back from Betrayal, is going to help so many women, and some men too, probably, because I think when this happens to you, when you find out that you've been betrayed by your spouse, you're so overwhelmed with feelings, you don't know if what you're feeling is right, accurate. You feel like you're out of your own body, you're not yourself. You feel like something's been stolen from you. You don't know who to be angry with. Susan and Burton Farbman were married more than 30 years when Susie discovered her worst fears were true. Burton had been cheating through half of their marriage with 3 different women, serious affairs. And despite the devastating betrayal, Susie decided to stay and wrote a book about it called Back from Betrayal. Why did you decide to stay?
I decided to stay, Oprah, because I just couldn't give up some of the memories we'd had.
Okay, every person who's had this happen to them, I think, goes through this. Was that period then when he was cheating on you, or having cheated on you and deceived you, betrayed you, did that make those times a lie?
No, no. The real times were the real times.
Okay, so can you tell us about going back to, as we heard Sam say, she had all the details. Did you want to know details?
I did not want details. All I wanted to know was that it was over.
You didn't want to know
I didn't
details.
want
You didn't want to know
no.
how serious were the affairs?
My imagination took care of that for me. It was enough already. But what happens is after you have been betrayed, you're in bed with this man and you start thinking all these nightmarish thoughts about what he was actually doing with some other woman, and if in fact you are even safe having sex with him again.
And that's a very valid thought.
Sure.
So what was Burton's other shocking confession during the recovery process?
Well, there were a couple of them during when it first happened and he first broke up with this woman. I'm thinking,
This is the third woman.
Yeah, the third woman. I'm thinking, I don't think he really wanted to do that, you know, and I'm just sort of hanging on by my fingernails.
Did you want to do it?
No.
You didn't?
No, I didn't.
So I was afraid that he was going to run back to her. And he agreed not to go back to this woman until he did some kind of psychological program of his own. But then a couple of months into our reconciliation,
He told
one
you.
night he said,
told you.
I miss Jody and I didn't break up with her the right way, and I don't think that was fair, and I got hysterical.
Well, didn't you want his honesty?
Yes, I did. And I had learned at that point to pray and pray and pray. And I'm surprised God has time for anybody else in this room.
He goes, oh, it's Susie again. Tell her to hold on. Okay.
Exactly. And I had learned that I had to let go of his reaction. I had to take care of me. And that's the best I could do.
Well, that's got to be really hard. That's got to be really hard. Oh, boy. We're talking about what Sam seeing the diary and having every explicit detail, but it's got to be really hard to know that he really cared for this other woman. He really cared for Jody and missed her. Because once you find out, you want him to say, that's it, that's over, I'm sorry, that's done. And that's not where he was.
No, and it was my worst fear that he really wasn't in his heart done with her. But I also knew that he loved me. At some point, he had really loved me.
Did you also love Jody?
I cared for her a great deal. I don't know that it was love.
Did you tell her that you loved her, though?
Yes.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I was going to say, because she wouldn't be all in it, you know, because we all know this, that a woman's not going to stay in a relationship, entangle with a guy, if he's not going to use the L word, and if he keeps saying, I care for you a great deal. Great deal. She wants to hear, do you love me? Did any of these women at any time, Bert, think that you were going to leave your wife? Did you give them any indication that perhaps you would?
There were discussions of that.
Discussions about it. So they thought that it was something that you knew that it wasn't.
Yes.
Yeah. Next, what happened when Burton and Susie's oldest son confronted his dad? We'll be right back. Susie and Burton's two sons remember hearing the scandalous rumors about their dad's affairs, and here's what it was like for them growing up with an unfaithful father.
All right. So before I get to that part where the kids are sharing their sentiments or whatever, now that they're not kids anymore, of course, they're adults now. But I want to know how you guys are feeling in comparison to what the young lady, Tanaya, sent to me. Um, After you've sat with this woman who was married and also the man in the situation, basically saying exactly what it is, you know, like I had an affair. I attached myself to these people. My wife was not emotionally available for me, and I spoke about this quite frequently. I've talked about this quite a bit on this channel when we talk about what it is that people really innately need in relationships. I think that there are so many people who think that sex is what men need. And so if you're doing everything that a man needs you to do, if you turn into America's favorite porn star, whoever that might be at the particular moment, in bed, that your man's not going to cheat on you. He's not going to leave you. He is 100% here for you. All of these things. And the same thing goes for women in their acts of betrayals and cheating and things like that. I, this young lady who sent me her relationship advice question has given away a whole solid 7 years of her life to this man who refused to entertain the idea of marriage. I doubt very seriously that he's ever used the L word as leverage with her, because obviously he could have easily used the M word, which was marriage, right? But he didn't, because I don't think he knew he was in a relationship. And then he went as far as to go out there and post on the social media website. Yeah, he didn't know he was in an intimate partner companionship with this young lady, with Tanisha. Maybe, yeah, maybe he was thinking like, oh, you're funny. You're talking about getting married, talking about getting married to me. Ah, poppycock. Who was she talking about? I am gonna go get a ring, but it's gonna be for the other chick that I'm dating. So Miss Sandy says she found out that she was a side chick.
Eventually, after 7 years,
Kinda.
yeah.
Kinda. I want to say that because and Tanasia, Tanaya, I'm sorry, I don't know which one it is the correct pronunciation of your name, but I, I want you to understand when you watch this video, this, okay? There is this thing about relationships. When you're in an intimate partner relationship, it's a companionship between people, and there are communication attempts that eventually are very successful, that kind of talk about the constructs of the relationship that you're building, talks about healthy boundaries, expectations, and all that good stuff. Even if you passively are having these conversations, you're going to have some conversation to as to what it is you want from one another, and to what extent you're able to meet the needs of this person. Says, how do you not know you're a side chick?
You get caught. Oh my goodness.
I don't know. I don't know.
That's all the way.
She wrote that she had been in a relationship with a guy for 7 years, and she's creeping with a fake profile, and he's on a fake IG page. So obviously she didn't know. I think that he was definitely putting up I don't know. Because 7 years, you got to be out here visiting family, spending holidays. I mean, these are normal relationship advancement things, right?
It's all right under the curve.
I just don't see. I don't see you being in a relationship with giving a man 7 years of your youth fertility, fertility. Said she probably didn't know it. That's not what her email said.
Now, if you want to eat that, then
Her email says, I'm gonna read it again. I have been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 7 years, and recently I found out that he has been with another woman who is engaged to now, and has been engaged for the past 4 months. He and I live 3 states away from one another and have been living this way from the beginning. My life has been about him and making him comfortable for so long that I lost myself, and I know we stopped having sex because as I continued to talk about marriage, he continued to ignore that this was even a point of interest. So obviously, he stopped having sex with her because she was talking about marriage. She's been with the man apparently for a solid 7 years. You're giving that. My friends and family have no idea what I found out, but my father has been discouraging my continuing the relationship for the past 3 years. So at least after 4 years, her dad is like, "Ooh, girl, mm-mm. You need to just go ahead and hang this up. Leave that man, because that man don't mean you no good." Daddies are going to be daddies. He can see that his daughter's being taken advantage of. He's tried to shoo you in the right direction, and you won't shoot. So says he has always been really attentive and loving, but I never could have imagined this would have happened. Sorry, I am all over the place, but I need to find peace and find a way back to all caps my man.
7 years.
I am willing to share if necessary, but he has no idea I know about the other woman. Oh, I did not mention it, but I know about her because I saw a live posted on the proposal on his alternate page on IG. I've been lurking on a fake profile too. Wink. Anyway, how do I get my man back, Doc? That's her full on question. I couldn't post the whole thing because apparently it was too long. Okay? However,
You want that man back.
right, that's what I'm saying. Like, what makes you want him back?
You know, talking about 4 years, 7 years. That was something that
Let me go back and look. How do you not know you're a side chick? She probably didn't know what she wanted. Yeah, no. Stop. Those keyword 3 states away. Yeah, I mean, people. So here's the thing. I'm gonna be honest. Some people, obviously, he has high value to her. Okay, if you're with anybody at the point where your father's telling you after year 4, get rid of him, it's not good, he's not good, you guys aren't good together, whatever, when your dad is telling you no and you're continuing to invest your time, now it doesn't matter what that value looks like to you, because every individual defines what it is that a person can add value to their life and what capacity or whatever, and what that looks like, let's put it like that. But there is no way in any world, and I do understand that Western culture now has a huge habit when it comes to you guys tethering yourself to relationships and not getting married, okay, and accepting whatever comes. I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't do that anymore or anything like that, but 7 years is a really long time to give a man who disengages from conversation with you as a result of you bringing up marriage, and then goes on to find himself proposing to in a public and social media videotaped viral post to another woman. And he was crying. I ain't even say, look, I hadn't posted for privacy reasons, but he was crying and he was in it. He found his wife. And I'm just wondering why it is he's still talking to you. Or are you now? Right. No, him. I'm going to hold him accountable. He's the man, damn it. So let's go back to Mr. Brooks's comment. Put the last comment back up. Take it from a man who's been through, girl. Except single again. Listen, I said the same thing. She needs discernment counseling, though. She needs to discern what it is that she's looking for out of life, because the other piece is this self-mutilating behavior, right? You're mutilating the emotional component of self because you've selected and found yourself continuously pledging yourself by way of on the surface and invisible loyalties to a man that's not emotionally available to you. And trust me, the red flags were there. So were the yellow ones, the white one too, that said, let's just run it out. You know, I'm gonna call it quits. I'm gonna call it a draw. You win, I win, we both win, nobody wins, whatever. Everybody's not meant to go into the different phases of your evolution in life with you. So you have to know when a season is over for a person. You can't let people continue to hold space where they no longer have a position. You say he's just being a man. Men aren't designed to be with one girl. I don't know. I don't know about that. Do you agree? As a man?
That's my choice. That's my choice. If I could do it, if I could do it. It's my choice.
I do agree it is about choices, but I mean, regardless of what his design may be or can't be or is or isn't, I think that transparency, people,
same thing about women, y'all,
right? Yeah, you could say the same thing about women, but I think people have to learn how to honor their word, how to keep their word, how to be people who position themselves around their words and understand that the impact of the things that we do sometimes is greater than what we expect them to be.
It's bigger than you.
Yeah, and the situation is larger than us too. I mean, obviously this girl's dad is telling her to leave. Just think about what it's going to be like when, my God, I hope her father doesn't watch this because I did say her first name, you know.
I don't know. You need to put her lawful down because she ain't gonna win without you. She gonna do those
She said she would like to get her man back. Do you guys believe she needs to
That's why I
continue to
think
go
he's not.
after
That's why
him?
I think he's not talking to her because he said get it back. He gonna stop talking to her somewhere online.
Oh yeah, if he's proposed to.
And she not willing to tell him she know all the information. She gonna lose the way it go and be hurt.
So let's talk a little bit about let's shift gears and talk a little bit about Susie. Have you ever heard of the saying, and possibly even this young lady, because maybe she was thinking the same way, which is how she probably ended up in this situation. Men aren't designed. I didn't say men have to be with multiple women. Humans are designed to throw things. It doesn't mean we have to. We haven't thrown anything in years. So if I mean, people are designed to be with multiple people. Then, if that's the case, so help me understand what you mean by men are designed to be with multiple women.
I mean, that's still your choice.
It is a choice, but I want to know where Miss Sandy's comment is going because science tells us something completely
That's not
different.
generalization. What I'm saying. That's not generalization. No, that's a choice for a man or a woman.
Is it that's not her man?
Right.
Sir, she put that in all caps. She
Mm-hmm.
put my man in all caps
How can
in
I
the
get my
email.
man back?
She want to know how she can get her man back because the other woman is the other woman and she's impeding on her space. You can't make this stuff up. I just sometimes wonder though because I think that he has a
Yeah, you must. I think that's what she.
you think he's still in a relationship with this girl. He's been with her for 7 years.
It's over with now.
So
After
do you
last
think
summer,
that he's been with both of them for the last 7 years, or maybe he's been with the other lady for longer than that?
that's what she just found out 4 months later.
And she said they've only been engaged for 4 months, and he has a separate Instagram page. So it tells me that he was trying to deceive her. Okay, but to what point is her being in a relationship with him deceit versus you just realizing what it is because your father's telling you, your friends telling you, your family's telling you he ain't it, and you're still staying with him. But then you're surprised when you find out that he proposes to this woman randomly. Make it make sense.
She's been counting 4 months down.
Yeah, and she know how long it's been since he made the proposal on Instagram.
She found out 4 months later. She was trying to.
Yeah, she's still trying to put it together, and then she's afraid to talk to him about it. Let me tell you something. If a man is getting Michael Chada, if we're having sex, and I know I just saw on a fake Instagram page of yours, first of all, sir, you're not. Where I'm having a conversation at the point where I'm finding a fake Instagram page because you explain this. Like, come on, what's going on? Like, and there is no way you're having sex with me, and I'm talking to you. I'm constantly talking to you over the course of 7 years about marriage, and you want me to have sex with you? There is no way. Chastity belt, double lock, three, 4, 5 locks. You're never getting it. You're never even gonna sniff it. You're going out of your way to make this man happy that obviously does not want to be with you. She lives in the Bronx, New York. 40 years old. You've given away literally all of your years that you could have had kids.
33.
Boy, listen.
33,
I don't know, you guys. I don't know. There are so many levels of wrong here. And I feel like this man right here, he was at least married, and at least he had an opportunity to share the truth. You know,
You know,
You, th- you think the girl's pregnant? Oh, God, I never thought about that one.
I mean, well, I, it
What
crossed
if
my
he
mind.
was? What if he was really cheating on both of them, and she just was the
Probably,
one to find
probably not
wise
because
up?
it's not, it's that's a theory more than I think the fact that you put down now.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the fact, but he right though about that because eventually they're gonna get. She's gonna get pregnant anyway. She said that she was willing to share.
Ain't just funny, no,
In the end of her email,
that is simple alone, man. No, I mean, you know,
let me put up the beginning of her email so you guys can see it. Okay, and I'm just gonna go back and highlight the end part that you guys can't see. Where it stopped. The pat where he's engaged to the other girl for 4 months. Go ahead, put it up. Mr. Brooks, listen, I said the same thing when I was looking at it. I said, whatever kind of penis this man got, I don't want nothing even similar to it in any of my days of life, ever, ever and ever. Miss Sandy says she's a side chick and she mad that she didn't get the proposal. She can't accept the loss. After 7 years, she has a right to be upset. She has a right to be upset.
That time, not wasted time, can't get back.
Yeah, but I really, I'm gonna be honest now, and Tanasia, Tanaya, don't feel like I'm being mean. I keep having to say that because I'm just gonna say I'm gonna call a thing a thing. You have to realize that if you're gonna be upset with anybody, it has to be yourself. Because even though I feel like this man has definitely deceived you by way of not having the difficult conversations, at some point you have to listen to the people that you have, because it sounds like you have a great support system. So if your support system comprised of friends and family and your father is telling you, hey, it ain't it. He's not it. It's, don't do this. At what point does it kick in? And you say, okay, well, it doesn't matter how good his penis is. I'm gone. Remove the comment so the beginning of her email shows up. Okay, so hold on, let me go to, man, that's a lot to read. It's like literally the first sentence. So after that 4 months part, it says, he and I live 3 states away from one another and have been living this way from the beginning. My life has been about him and making him comfortable for so long that I lost myself. And now we stopped having sex because as I continued to talk about marriage, he continued to ignore that this was even a point of interest. My friends and family have no idea what I found out, but my father has been discouraging my continuing the relationship for the past 3 years. He has always been really attentive and loving, but I never could have imagined this would happen. Sorry, I am all over the place, but I need to find peace and find a way back to my man, all caps, the my man. And that's when she says, I'm willing to share if necessary, but he has no idea I know about the other woman. Oh, I did not mention it, but I know about her because I saw a live he posted of the proposal onto his alternate page on IG. So now, and to be honest, that's stalking. I have been lurking on a fake profile too, wink. But at least she knows it's stalking. Anyway, how do I get my man back, Doc?
But I know for private reasons you can't show her face, but what do you say? What's your dress size, your weight, and your I mean,
she I can't show her face or the other young lady, but I will say she's not a bad looking girl.
Well, that kind of
she's not a bad looking girl. But also, I mean, he's not a bad looking guy either. You know, he's pretty nice looking. She did good with that. I mean, but I wouldn't have given him 7 years. I don't care how good you look. I would not give you 7 years of my time, attention, and my body, and you are ignoring me when I talk about what marriage looks like for us having kids one day and stuff like that. Like, yeah, no.
What you call that?
I mean, the other young lady is nice looking too. Says he got that Diamond D, a girl. Tell her to come to Florida. She'll be better. I'll make sure. Well, she's gonna watch this video. I'm gonna send her this video in response to her email. Oh, she's a realtor. Dang, I probably shouldn't have said that. Said her first. Well, good luck with spelling that name anyway. Tanaya, Tanisha, whatever. However you pronounce it.
You never get it out of it.
Yeah, but she's fairly attractive. But the thing is, attraction doesn't mean anything. That's why I always tell people, like, it doesn't matter how much you're having sex with a person. Doesn't matter what you look like. This man has taken whole 7 years of your life, and now you're probably never going to become a mom. I'm just going to go Kevin Samuels on you real quick. You're probably never going to become a mother, so you might as well buy a dog or a cat. Right, because literally nobody wants to be the old mom in the classroom. Now, it doesn't. If you got older kids, that makes that thing different. But when that's your only kid, I said, tell her come get some fat boy love. I'll show her how to love. You look. You'll have to do that. Yeah. She has a couple of homes in New York.
Oh, wow.
Why do you think he's going to see her? And tonight, don't think that I'm just trying to be mean, but the reality is this. He's coming to see you, and he's kept you around for 7 years because with you, he can live out what his dream looks like. But and that's one of the other things that I was considering too. Like some men, they feel very insecure in relationships where the woman earns more than they do. And as a result, they womanize. That's what they do because they can't really properly, take their seat. And I'm just curious because I did see the video. I'm just curious as to what extent, because you did say you pride yourself in making him happy and doing things for him. To what extent have you invested in him financially? Because I would hate to think that he bought that beautiful ring with your money. It's just no way. There's just no way. There's just no way. You don't give somebody 7 years. I just can't. I can't believe it. It's so hard. It's so hard for me to believe.
It's too much going on about any kind of time like that.
Yeah.
Going nowhere fast.
So, what do you guys think? Yes, Miss Sandy, she owns her. She has several homes that she owns, but that's not going to help her in this situation. It's just not. And oftentimes, I mentioned that too. Sometimes being nice looking doesn't help you. Having your own whatever doesn't help you. Having a degree doesn't help you in a relationship with a man. Men have an innate need to feel needed and respected in a relationship. Like you have to need them. They have to see that there is a need for them. If you take over and you start doing everything and you become the male energy in the relationship as a result of that, then what the hell is his job? Why is he there? Says this is what happened. He suggested years ago that she should move, and she said no because she has her career and she's independent. He demoted her to side chick status and found a more submissive girl. No. She was submissive.
I think he kept that part of you like you.
Yeah, he just wanted to use her.
Exactly.
And he just wasn't entertaining. Did you miss her part about he deflected every time she mentioned marriage? No, it's not happening. Even her father seeing it, you understand, said leave him alone, and she stayed. So what that says is she wasn't it. She wasn't it. He, like Mr. Brooks, I think it was Mr. Brooks mentioned earlier, he found his wife. Men are natural hunters. So if you're coming to him, and I had one of my male clients earlier this week, we had this conversation about some of his female options in dating. And he kept saying that women would propose to him all the time too. And he's fairly he's a very attractive male, and he's fairly successful, you know, in the market. And the thing is, women have been proposing to him for like the last 5 years, and he's always like, no. If a woman will propose to me, that tells me that she is no woman. She is more man than she is woe man. You understand? So he needs a woman that is feminine, that understands her proper position. That there are certain things that you have to let a man do, because these are things that men do. You understand? Said, and you in a whole other state from him. He been in them streets. So sorry to say you was a lady simp and you didn't make marriage a priority. But I think that she definitely made marriage a priority, because from looking at all of her, because you guys know I go back and I verify and look at all the stuff, looking at everything that she has posted about them, and looking at what, he's posted about her on his primary. Because here's the thing, dude is definitely living a double life. It looks like he just got this woman who's just like his slave. And you know what, that's what I'm going to go to toward her submissiveness. He always would talk about his post was, oh, I'm out getting a massage with my girl, or I'm getting foot rubs by my girl. She would take care of him. She would do whatever it is that he needed, and he would post things with her and him. But he has this alternate page. He's literally living a double life. That's why I selected this video. He's literally living a double life for the past, at least the past 5 months, because I've been seeing posts and pictures of the other girl on his alternate page. His alternate page was created like 6 months ago, because it was after Valentine's Day. It's almost 6 months. So she's doing all of these things for him, cooking, cleaning, taking care, and then she didn't move. She didn't move at the point where she's ready to be with him. And that's, I think, why the dad told her to leave him alone. You want to move to his state, and he doesn't want you to move. You know what I mean? Especially considering how what real estate is doing in that market. Why does he not want you to move down there? I think that should have been the first question, and I think she should have followed her dad's heart. Says she has a career in multiple homes. She's successful and submissive. Something doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, I vetted her pretty well. I'm just going off of what this guy say. This is what his post say. Right. After she put it out there, she gave me a link to both of his IG pages, to her IG page, to his what do you call it, TikTok page. She gave me Facebook. He's not on Facebook often, but he posts a tremendous amount on both IG pages. I don't even understand how dudes keeping up, to be honest with you. He's just living a double life. Like, this guy was living a double life. He had a secret cell phone. He probably got another phone. I agree. I said the same thing, Mr. Brooks.
I knew.
But here it is. You're using this woman. I feel like he was using her just for the in-between time, because essentially he knew there was something that he benefited. Maybe just using her, maybe the money. I don't know, because I've been hearing that a lot too. But like I said, men who are really trying to position themselves as the head of the household, what I'm hearing from them in sessions is that, hey, no, I need to be respected. I need to be needed. Like, I have to have a woman who needs me. Hey, Candy Girl, how are you? Miss Sandy says, what does he do for a living? He works for a IT company. So I think that he's an installation technician. Yeah. But I think this is what I think. And here are my honest reflections, you guys. I think it's hard for a man in this society now to make a commitment to women that they don't see as marriage material because they see themselves not worthy of those particular women. Now, that's not to even shade at all the new woman because she looks very well put together as well. But whatever drew him to her in a matter of 4 months,
that we know of.
No, 1 month, because he started posting her on that new page 5 months ago, and the new page was created 5 months ago, 6 months ago. So over the course of him dating her for 2 months, he made a decision to marry her. He's been dating you for 7 whole years. Tony Braxton made the song 7 whole nights. It's gonna be 7 whole years, not a word about a ring. I just it just makes me, it gives me, I don't know. It's kind of like creeper vibes. And then you got to go out here and be stalking him. It's beneath you. It's beneath you. Tanasia, just move on. Let go. You know, like the Christians say, let go and let God. But just let go. Period. Let go, and that's it. I don't know what he did, but there is no penis, no tongue, no hands, no nothing in this world good enough to make me just be an entire out here. Okay, you are not getting my cookies. And you know, said oh, Candy Girl, I can do a little something, you know. You know, we got a couple of singers in the family. But I y'all make it make sense. What is going on? Well, you know, they always complaining about Atlanta, saying Atlanta got more men to women. I guess it's everywhere. It's a big thing. It's a shortage of men, so she's settling. There is no way he got respect from that woman if what you say is true. I guarantee she didn't treat him like her man. I'm just looking at, listen, I can't talk about what goes on behind closed doors. I can only look at what he's posting on his page and what she's posting on her page. And they post a lot. Trips together and all that good stuff. I was curious about who was paying. At the point where you telling me 7 years and he ignoring you, you talking about marriage, and he like, yeah, what color is the sun over there today? Hey, what color is the sun every day? I just can imagine what those conversations look like, you know? She said she has been on it for 7 years. She has been talking about marriage, and then he even stopped having sex with her as a result. He was like, "Oh, you want to keep talking about marriage? I got you. I'm keeping my penis to myself." Because obviously you think that just because we're doing all this traveling and you spending your money and you know we're doing all of this, you might think that this is more than what it is. I'm just gonna stop. Says she probably an alpha female. No, that's not an alpha female. Alpha females don't get used like that. She needs to go where? Rural, you mean? Oh yeah, she needs to live in some rural areas of America. Probably, you know what? Not probably so. So Tanaya, ma'am, I think that Mr. Brooks makes a really good point. I think that maybe you should think about moving to a place where there are an abundance of men who, but you have to. Nah, that probably wouldn't be good. Because then, what if those men see her as a threat, right? Because she makes so much money. Yeah. So I really don't have an answer for you. I think that you're in the right place. Go to New York, New York, New York. The Bronx is. No, I think her communication is there. She said she's been talking for 7. That was a point of contention for her to make sure that I understood that she has been trying to communicate that marriage is the point for her.
7 years was too long to get my payment to end.
Right, Miss Sandy. But so you guys are gonna have to help me. I don't know how it is that she gets her man back because what I see
She ain't get no man.
it
She get a piece of man.
she's not getting. I can guarantee you, she's not getting a piece of man from that woman.
That's what I'm talking about.
Now
She
she's
gonna
all
make you
right.
happy.
We're talking about and Tanaya. Let me tell you something. I'm not necessarily saying that you're not nice looking. It's just that some guys are really big on the looks of a woman, right? The appearance of a woman. And even though everything is right and in place with you, this guy has decided to attach himself and marry a woman. And this girl has a kid because he proposed to the daughter too. He asked the daughter for, you know, if he could marry her mom. So she has a kid by somebody else. And I mean, she's very well put together. And I can't say your personalities and stuff like that, what's different about them. She's 40. But what I'll say is this: when men are doing things like this, you have to ask yourself, how did I allow this to happen for 7 years? Because 7 years is a really long time to give a person, whether it's a man or a woman, who refuses to entertain conversations, just conversations about marriage. At least most men, if they're using you, they'll talk to you about marriage because they know they want you to pay for that next trip. But to completely ignore you, let's put up Mr. Brooks' comment again. As long as she don't throw her money in his face. You think so? I don't know about that. Yeah, because you're talking about a huge income gap. The woman he proposed to looks like she appears, her daughter is looks like she's like 10 or 11 years old. So I don't know, they could be around the same age, but she definitely looks like she's in her 30s to 40. Because to me, the young lady who wrote into the show, she appears younger than the other woman. The other woman looks like she's had a little bit of a challenging life, but she has a kid that comes with challenging lives. But both of them are very pretty girls. But hands down, if I were the guy on the other end, I think the other young lady would probably be the preference. That's just because I think, I don't know. I think that, you know, some things have to be in alignment with your woman. I think that the way that you appear, she appears to be very softer. She's very soft spoken, and she's not the girl that is going to lead you into the room. You're the person that's going to have to lead her into the room. And you can see her femininity just pours off of every picture they've taken and every video that they've posted. Now, the thing that I noticed about you, Tanaya, what I want you to think about is this. If you are, and I get it, because I was thinking about this as I was looking through and I saw your pictures. So sometimes you will stay in a relationship with a person and you're settling. And because you are unhappy, you appear to be unhappy, but you also appear to be very hard. And it's possible that all this time that he was ignoring you in your conversations about marriage, you knew that it was over. So I will say that the last thousands of pictures that I saw, you look very unhappy. No, I call a thing a thing. I think they're both nice looking women. But the other woman, the new woman, definitely has she has more of a glow. She's just happier. While Tanaya, when you're taking pictures with him, you can tell you're suspicious and you're distrustful, because you got to think about it. As a therapist, I know body language. So your body language says that you're distrustful of him. So you could definitely tell that you guys have divested from sex. Because sex does something to you. it makes you a happier person, and that goes to my question, the other banner for the night. What is sex therapy good for? When you have breakups like this, because that's what I'm going to encourage too, it's really important that you become congruent with who you are. Your self-worth is very important. So I can't, because I I feel like she been stalking this couple now. Says that's why he proposed to the other woman. She is probably more yielding, feminine, and allows him to be the hero. Yeah, and that's one of the things I was saying. Like, men need to feel needed, and I think in a relationship for this 7 years, you've been forcing marriage on him. You shouldn't even be bringing those conversations up, because here's the thing: if a man wants to marry you, he will know. Make it clear. If you feel like you missed the mark, to make it clear in the beginning, make it clear the moment you know that your intentions are marriage, right? After that, don't bring it up anymore. For 7 years you've been talking about marriage, like, he probably over there thinking like, God, just I wish you'll shut up, because I'm thinking he didn't know that he was in an intimate partner relationship with you. I'm thinking he thought that he was in a situationship with benefits, travel benefits, money benefits. What do they call that? Splurging benefits, okay? Oh God. And I feel sorry for you. I really do. Um
I would, because it's my share and let it give me. We're gonna go through all that. Then I'll be through with that.
yeah, she did say she was willing to share.
That got me to say that.
Well, I think a lot of women feel like they have to share now. And let me see how she said. She said, I am willing to share if necessary, but he has no idea I know about the other woman. So that's saying that she would, I still feel sorry for her, because it's saying that she's willing to do whatever it is and whatever it takes to be with him. Right. That's what a lot of people say. It's better to have a piece of a man than not to have no man at all. How do you guys feel about that? But she been wanting to be married. She was already doing whatever it took. She said that, let me look. My life has been about him and making him comfortable for so long that I lost myself. So you don't see that in that? And she said she knows he stopped having sex with her. So she said, I know we stopped having sex because as I continued to talk about marriage, he continued to ignore that this was even a point of interest. So that says that she's been trying to let him know, this is what I want. This is what but you know what? I talk about that all the time with my clients in therapy. Sometimes your messages are, when you're overt about a message, but covertly you're doing other things, you're teaching people how to treat you. So if you say to a person, I want to be married, and that's what it is, your actions need to align with that. Like, you can't be out here ambivalent about whether or not you want to find yourself in a marriage and permanently tethered to someone. You got to be doing the things to get what it is you want. So obviously, even though this other woman has a kid and stuff, she's obviously like, bro, you're not getting these cookies. The pack's not open. The whole store closed, matter of fact, until you give me a ring, And she probably stuck by that. I don't know. I can't speak for her, but man, I just feel so sorry for her. I feel sorry for her father too. Because eventually he has to find out that this was done. So what are you guys thinking? Because that's her question. She would like to know how she can get her man back. If you guys have any advice for her, go ahead and type it in the chat now. Because when I send this to her, I want you guys to have, conveyed a message different than mine. My message is, you don't get him back, because he's not your man. I think that he's never been your man. I think that he thought you were his friend or something. and this woman that he's proposed to is his woman. So well, obviously she thinks that women should share too. She don't care.
There's nothing freaking marital hard to do all that. And they,
A Candy Girl said, "No, girl, we do not share. Move on. Find yourself. Love your life. Love yourself, and date in rotation so that you don't become obsessed with one person." Well, no, that's equally unhealthy, Candy Girl. She's just gonna stack up her body count. At least she's been exclusive with this guy for 7 years. I don't know if that's okay. So who's obviously the other girl's a better catch. I was gonna say who's a better catch, the girl that has been only with one person, or the girl that's been out here sampling everybody, and then you cross path and you're like, oh yeah, I want to marry her. Apparently, she's the better catch. So obviously, the amount of sex a woman is having isn't something that interests men like him.
only when it was them.
Do you guys think that he's just gonna cheat on the other woman?
Yeah.
Hold on, put the comment back up. Oh no, not the sleep around part. I'm talking about the fact of her not getting too attached to someone, because essentially if she's dating, she's gonna need to be able to give it everything she's got. Well, hell, she already gave it everything she got. Yeah, I really don't have anything. But I think that even if you have given it all you've gotten, maybe that man just wasn't worthy. Maybe he wasn't the one, and he taught you how to recognize the red flags. Says, I know women who leave their man because he cheated only to get with another man that cheats. It's easier to just understand a man and adapt. Well, like this woman right here says she didn't leave her man. So the one on the video. I mean, but cheating is so not the biggest betrayal in relationships, you guys. So let's talk about this. The biggest betrayal that this guy did to the young lady that wrote in for this topic, the biggest betrayal is leading her on and wasting her time. Okay? This woman gave the most precious years of her life to this man. I don't think that you guys are looking at the biggest issue. And Tanaya, I want you to hear me when I say this. You've given him, because you have to elect to be a part of this dance. You have to come in, walk in, vie for, pay for a seat at the table that tells you you're going to wait for the next dance with this man, with this kind of guy. So you've bought a seat, okay? You've paid and you've invested in this man, and you've given him the most intricate part of your life. And I really hope that you go on to live 90 plus years. I really do. But how long is it going to take you to reseat yourself, recondition yourself, heal your trauma from this relationship, and enter into a healthy marriage and then have another baby? Let's say at the least that you can accomplish all this within the next 2-3 years. You're 42 by then, 43. When your kid graduates from high school, how old are you then? 60. Right? And this is your only kid. So the thing is, like, if you had other kids, having a kid after 40 wouldn't be a huge point of contention. Hell, I've done it. Like, that's nothing. But if you have no children and you're just doing this thing for the first time, it's hard on your body. It's hard on your mentality. It's hard on your emotions. It's hard on everything, on your life. Polyamorous relationships are not illegal. People can enter into polygamous marriage in other countries and then come over here and have it validated as an exception. No,
All
no.
the time is precious.
The most precious years when it comes to winding down the years of parenting are between in your 30s. In your 20s, you're still seeding yourself in career, relationship, love. You're still finding yourself. You're still solidifying your sense of
Right.
self. Psychologically, your brain is
You
still
build your
growing.
foundation.
Yeah, your brain is still growing and maturing just the basic integral parts,
They get
not
good. Right.
neuroplasticity in and of itself, but developing. It's still developing the basic needs until you're 25, 26. So give you got to give yourself some leeway to find out how congruent you are with that sense of self that you've developed over the course until 25. And then when you get into your 30s, you can go forth and be great. um
Kind of good crazy.
Says I used to ask my husband to get things off the shelf that I could reach easily. I'm 5'9". He loves stuff like that. Exactly. Exactly. I'm telling you, they love it. They because men need to feel needed. If you don't make them feel needed, if you're an independent entity, if you're an island and you're standing alone by yourself, what the hell am I for? If he's a guy, he doesn't feel a sense of purpose in your life. Therefore, he's easily played to the left, because literally that's what it's about. It's about him knowing that there is security in his position, and then he can provide security for you as a result of what it is that you're giving him. Oh, God, you guys. So, for sure, the betrayals are definitely about him playing on this woman for all these years and not being honest, not being transparent, deceiving her. And there is no telling. Who knows? You know, could be so much more. He could have been going back talking about her really bad amongst his friends and things like that. It's a lot there. Says, okay, then she spent the most precious years of her life finding herself when she should have been looking for a husband. Well, a woman shouldn't be looking for anything, apparently.
Wait for one, not looking.
Yeah, a woman should always be a queen in waiting. Queen in waiting means that you're waiting the betrothal of a man. Men are the one who find. Men are hunters, seekers. That's exactly what it is that most men talk about. The one that I was talking about, who mentioned earlier this in this week, he was like he's getting tired of women going out there thinking that you're not supposed to be in their position. Like I don't know what I have to say to get that through the heads of these modern day women. You guys have to reposition yourself, reseat yourself. Men are getting tired of it, and you will realize that the same things that you're talking about when it comes to men cheating and things like that, this will literally be something that you walk yourself right into. You will. And it's sad, but it's a true statement. We have to understand that men have their position and we have our position, and we have to have a mutual respect for one another, okay? So when I say, are you truly ready for commitment, right? And you think about what the requirements of sex are. When I say that she needs to get herself together, sex therapy is helpful in that it helps us to become one with ourselves physically, emotionally, mentally, and behaviorally by aligning those three entities, mind, body, and spirit. So, what happens is you have to be emotionally ready to allow yourself to be a part of a relationship with someone. I don't think I don't think she was ready, or maybe he knew that he had been playing her all this time and thought that she was smarter and that she knew, which obviously I'm not going to say you're not smart, because girl, you went out there and created a whole fake page, got him to accept you and called him out on his stuff without calling him out directly. More power to you. But the betrayals are there, literally. So I think that what needs to happen is this: we have to be people who don't say things like, oh, well, you know what? If as long as he doesn't bring it home, as long as I don't find out, then I'm good. As long as he's respecting me. There is no respecting you when he's out there disrespecting his body, disrespecting you by way of disrespecting his body and engaging in sex with someone else and then coming back to you. And now you have to wonder whether or not you have a disease or not, whether it's safe to be with him. That's one of the points that was mentioned by this woman right here as she's talking about her husband. I think men have to look at the greater thing there, right? Those acts of betrayals, you would put my physical health at risk. People are getting HIV, syphilis, HPV every day and dying from HPV and syphilis. You still got some folks dying from HIV. Like, and you guys are playing around in these streets like that's a cute thing. It's not. It's irresponsible. It's inconsiderate. And it's a huge act of betrayal. Because there's one thing for you to be out there exposing yourself to blah, 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 but for you to come back and be with that woman, that person, after you've done these things, So, you guys, this has been a lot for me. We're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to finish reviewing this video. Okay, Jack. My dog wants to get in, but yeah. That's all I got. I'm going to tonight I'm going to share this with you, and I really, really hope that this is helpful. You know, I think that this is an audience where these people are very authentic about their commentary. Sure, we have a couple of people that troll every once in a while, but not that many. Says she probably helped this guy financially and he accepted it, but he probably leveled up and now she wants to know.
That's the struggle, babe. There you go.
You know, men will let you play Barbara the Builder, accept their help. Yeah. When I tell you, based on everything that I've seen, you know, I thought about that, but I don't want to jeopardize this man's relationship. I don't know. I might send him a message. Right. Okay, Jack. But yeah, so you guys go out there, be great, live free, you know, be adventurous, but don't be sexually adventurous and giving people diseases and stuff like that. Try to, you know, tether yourself to as close to completion as possible so that you can at least do what's necessary for you to keep your energy balanced and everything like that. Put some positive energy into the world. And please, please, please do not impede on the personal energy spaces of other folks. And please don't put other people at risk by doing these things that lead to these types of topics. If you, men, men, hear me. Stop wasting the time of women. If you do not want to marry her and she makes it very clear to you that this is what I want for my life, this is what I want for my future, and she has a father that's encouraging her to continue the legacy, if you know that that's not what you're there for, please, please, please have enough respect for even just yourself and let her go. Like, I know it's tempting and it's nice that, you know, you can take advantage of folks and all that stuff, but sometimes at some point you got to say to yourself, like, am I being a little selfish? Like, is this a little bit much? You know? So go out there and do your part, right? Contribute to the world in a positive way. Tanasia, honey, I just, my heart just, it goes out to you.
There you go.
Only you, Money Boy Trey. Only you. Go back and rewind the video if you guys didn't see it from the beginning. And if you have additional info that you can yield to her, you know, in her time of need, any advice that you guys have from your personal encounters with people, please, please, please share that information with her, because at the end of the day, everybody can, you know, be a source of empowerment and encouragement for someone, right? Um, Man, you just can't make this stuff up. This is probably the hardest thing that I've had to do, like the hardest topic. But I think that men have to be more accountable for how they're treating women and what you guys are doing to women and to their sanity. Like creating all this wholetivity. This is what's creating it. So that's all I got, you guys. Later days. Bye.
Who alive can't put me in a box. I redefine any definition you got. I am the tiger, I'm making steps to the top. The flames, I rip it up, you just gotta hand me the rock. Take a seat, you cannot stand it. All I know, the flow harder than a Scotch bunny. Don't try better than me, you cannot manage. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon. This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.